All right, Tosh, we are at the Red Smith Banquet throwback time, and we've got perfect timing for this one, I would say, given that we are right in the middle of the AL and NLCS Championship Series. And speaking of none other than John Smoltz, you're
Yeah.
a color commentator, but boy, one of the all-time great pitchers and probably the murderer's row of all-time great pitching staffs too, I would think.
Oh yeah. When you think about that staff with Atlanta, when you had Smoltz, you had Maddox, and you had Glavine, man,
Yeah.
unbelievable to be able to have that. I mean, all three of these guys you could talk for hours about, but we're here to talk about Smoltzy,
Yeah.
and he was just a big power righty, but 6'3", 210, and he could hum. He was
Yeah.
and
You're absolutely right.
and he
I
was he was a he was a fighter. He was a battler, a grinder. He was I wouldn't want to get up there and face him.
No, no, not at all. Yeah, I mean, they were badass. They had that killer instinct for sure. One of the most amazing things, you and I were talking about this earlier. Smoltz, great starter through his career, and
Yeah.
then boom, he gets Tommy John surgery, and that knocks you out for almost a year in recovery. But he came back, spent the next 4 years as the Braves closer. He
Mhm.
had 55 saves during that time. That ended up being the second. He was the second pitcher in history, only Dennis Eckersley, him and Dennis Eckersley, one of the greatest all-time pitchers,
Right.
to have both a 20-win season and a 50-save season.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, and he spent 22 years in the big leagues. Um Hall of Famer. Just and I honestly he does a great job as a commentator for Fox Sports. So we'll be hearing him not only in the championship series but also in the World Series cuz Fox will have all the games.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the really cool thing I would say about the throwbacks, what we're doing. You're absolutely right. So Thursday night you flip on, or whatever night you flip on the ball game, it's John Smoltz. Well, he was here in Appleton in 2012. He gets the Nice Guy Award.
Yep.
It That's pretty cool. I think
Yeah.
it's
It just goes along with that amazing line of speakers that the Red Smith has that we provide to you in these throwback episodes. So you continue to like these. We're going to continue bringing them to you, and you're going to get to hear people like Smoltz, and you're going to be able to hear some of the messages he has. And he had great messages. I mean, talking about playing multiple sports and the importance of that, and not playing things year round. And it's
right.
he had some really good messages.
One of the messages, and I just remembered this. So he was one of the people that I don't remember exactly how it came about when we got him, signed him, or we're going to present him the award. A lot of times we'd give fees to these folks to come in. He didn't accept his. He basically gave it back to us. So he
Okay.
did it for free on his own dime, and that was I just remember that's the kind of guy John Smoltz is.
There you go. The Nice Guy Award winner right there.
Yes.
Well,
You guys enjoy.
yeah, absolutely. Like Joe was saying, you guys enjoy it. It's a good interview.
He is here tonight to present the Shield's Nice Guy Award to John Smoltz. Vince?
Over the past 20 years, John Smoltz has attended numerous sports banquets and award ceremonies. He's been presented with great awards of importance and stature, including the National League Cy Young Award, the National League Championship Series MVP Award, the Branch Rickey Community Service Award, the Roberto Clemente Community Involvement Award. Those awards were presented to John while at elegant banquet halls and resorts in metropolitan venues throughout the United States. When he received those awards, John was introduced by distinguished presenters, including former players, managers, and major league executives. Tonight, on this mid-January night, while it is 60-plus degrees back in Atlanta, John is in Northeast Wisconsin It's about 8 degrees outside. Wind chills are expected to dip well below zero. The roads are dangerously icy. And he's staying in a hotel that ESPN analyst Chris Carter once claimed was the worst hotel in the NFL. On top of that, John has to speak to about 1,500 severely depressed Green Bay Packer fans. And even on top of that, John is being introduced tonight by basically some unknown guy who's overweight, and he's named Vinny. A guy who, for the past 15 years of the sports banquet, normally would be seen seated at table 213, surrounded by plastic buckets of empty beer bottles and stacks of empty cake plates. Now, John, are you feeling pretty important right now? John Smoltz is the only pitcher in Major League history to record 200 wins and 150 saves. He is expected to be a near lock for the Hall of Fame when first eligible in the year 2014. And if you think about it, the best the Red Smith Committee could do to come up with a presenter is Vinny, the fat guy from table 213. Do you know how far away table 213 is, John? If you plug it into MapQuest, it shows up about halfway between Kaukauna and Sheboygan. Now, apparently the Red Smith Committee did have some level of logic in picking a guy from table 213 to be your presenter. The story allegedly is that the committee wanted to get some younger blood involved in the banquet process, the preparation process, and younger blood up here at the head table. And the need for the youth movement with the Red Smith Committee was confirmed by me when I reviewed some of the nonprofit's corporate filings online and the minutes from their last board meeting. And you can check this out yourself online. The corporate filing for the nonprofit lists the average age of the board members of the Red Smith Committee as, and I quote, deceased.
I resemble that.
Yeah. The minutes from the last committee meeting reflect that there was a dispute, a heated dispute, as to whether the committee members' banquet table should be stocked with free Miller Lite beer or stocked with free Miralax or Ensure. The minutes also, and this is true, Chuck can confirm this, the minutes also reflect that the committee no longer wanted any guest or presenter who needed an oxygen tank or respirator at the head table. Now, John Smoltz's career on the field, but more importantly off the field, makes him one of the most deserving recipients of the Nice Guy Award in the 47-year history of this banquet. John has donated thousands of hours of his time to help charitable programs in the Atlanta area and throughout the United States. On his own, he has raised millions of dollars for charitable programs. Some of the primary recipients of his efforts include the Atlanta Community Food Bank, Kings Ridge Christian School, the Atlanta Braves Baseball Academy, and the Power to Grow Ministries. Fighting hunger through his local food bank has been a passion for John for decades. Most recently, he teamed with Chevrolet for the food bank's Drive Away Hunger program. To his teammates, in his 22 years in the majors, John was known as Mr. Clutch, and his statistics back that up. You can see that in the Red Smith program. He was an 8-time All-Star and helped lead his team to 5 World Series appearances. John's teams made the postseason 14 times. His teammates could also count on John to keep things light in the clubhouse, as John was known as one of the most notorious pranksters in baseball. Beyond baseball, John has always been a highly competitive athlete. He was an all-state high school basketball player in Michigan and received a scholarship offer for both baseball and basketball to Michigan State University. And he is still a highly accomplished golfer. He once shot a 72 at Augusta National, and last year he played, as in a professional tournament on the nationwide tour in Georgia. Outside of sports, John has many interests, including music. Both of John's parents played the accordion, and John began to play that instrument when he was only 4 years old. With his competitive spirit, John soon became an expert at the accordion and won in-state and out-of-state contests. Beyond his speech, that you'll hear in a little bit, John had planned to play the accordion tonight for the banquet crowd. But I'm sorry to report that unfortunately the instrument was accidentally misplaced by the local baggage claim office. But being the nice guy that he is, and knowing the crowd that he was going to play to, John planned to play the song, "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow," from the Broadway musical Annie, to help all of us Packer fans get through our post-weekend depression. Thanks for the thought, though. Now, finally, for his great work, both on the field and especially off the field for numerous charities over many, many years, I hope all of you here in Big Ten country will welcome back a Michigan native with a warm round of applause as I invite John Smoltz up to the podium to receive the 2012 Shields Nice Guy Award. John. Thanks.
I don't know how this thing keeps moving. Have you been watching it? Yes. By itself. Thank you very much. It truly, everybody that I have met here wanted to know what I thought when I got to this room. And I really didn't know what they were talking about when I got to this room. But when I seen how many people are in this room, it's truly a tribute to you all for all that you have done. And by the way, I never said you all growing up in Michigan. So I've been in Atlanta a little too long, but this is really an unbelievable banquet, and for all the work that you guys have done to not only recognize a lot of great student athletes, but for the history of this banquet. I am amazed, as Aman said, really excited to be here. I actually was in Madison yesterday. So this is 2 straight days in Wisconsin for me. And on the way up, I think it was 41 was one of the highways we took up here. And of course, the weather wasn't really good, but I'm used to that. But we had to stop because there was an accident. And we left plenty of time. It wasn't a matter of whether we're going to get here, but you're sitting on the highway and not much is moving, and you contributed to the snow. And finally, you know, I just got out of the car just to see what was happening. So I went up and saw that the police officers had closed off 41. There wasn't any movement. And I said, do we have any kind of ETA here? I got to get to a pretty important banquet. And he said, no, we really can't move. We can't move any of the carcasses till we get an eyewitness report of what happened. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, we had these 2 turtles had a head-on collision right here on 41. I said, are you serious? He says, yeah. He says, we need an eyewitness report, and we've asked everybody, and no one saw it. I said, well, have you asked the snail that's sitting there on the side of the road? And he said, no, come to think of it, we didn't. He said, so we go over to ask the snail, and he says, did you see this? He said, yes, sir, I saw everything that happened. He goes, all right, great. Would you give us an eyewitness report of what happened? He said, I would, but everything happened too fast. You said they wouldn't get that here in But I am honored to be up here. A lot of distinguished guests and recipients. I hope to share a little bit about myself to explain why my career or my personality or character took its form. But before I do that, I feel like I'm equipped with a lot of the dignitaries up here, general managers and presidents of organizations. I've won 6 fantasy football championships, so I consider that if that's something, I mean, you know, you gotta. I do admire your work and what you have to do. It's a tough job. Not all of us athletes are well behaved or easy to be around. But I am a sports fanatic. I didn't start out that way. As a sneak preview of one of the towns and states that I can say this, that people actually understand that I did play the accordion. Nobody else understands that in most parts of the country. At the age of 4, I come from a family of 3, a brother and a sister. I'm the oldest. My parents are accordion players. They're accordion teachers, so I was next in line. You know, I was the firstborn, and they strapped the accordion on me when I was 4, and it was bigger than me. And life, you know, Lawrence Welk, every other day we watched Lawrence Welk. And back in the 8-track days, you know, polkas every single day in the car. So that's what I knew, and that's what my family was so proud of. I had a world-renowned great uncle that played the accordion and was famous, and my parents still play today. My dad's in a band. He's 68 years old. You can look him up online. He'll play a gig in a basement. He doesn't matter where it is. He will play. And I was just following the family tradition. At the age of 7, I had been playing for 3 years. And the accordion, for those of you who don't know, is a tough instrument to play, and you must be very disciplined and diligent. You can't miss too many lessons. And I didn't. But at the age of 7, sitting at a gas station in front of my mom in the car, I just asked her, I said, you know what, Mom, I know what I'm going to be when I grow up. I know my dream. And she said, really? I said, yeah, I know it. She said, what is it? I said, I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. Now, my parents knew nothing about sports. They claim they know everything now, but they knew nothing about sports. And she just calmly said, that would be fine. That's great. We want you to pursue your dreams. We think that's great, but have a backup plan. And I knew it right then, what my backup plan was. And she said, okay, well, what's your backup plan? I said, if I don't make it as a Major League Baseball player, I'm going to be a gas station attendant. And that's a wide range. And she just said, okay, let's just kind of keep that between you and I. But an Italian, 100% Italian mom and a German, Czechoslovakian dad, I really did learn everything from them. Very grounded. 2 people. They taught me, you know, the most important thing, obviously, is faith in God, and then family, and then school, and then sports. They never, I'm sure, dreamed that sports was going to take me to where it did, but that same drive that I learned is in playing the accordion, I was able to learn in baseball. I'm very goal-oriented, and I'm very determined in what I do. I'm either all in or I'm not, and I would just start in the backyard with a rubber ball, in a home that wasn't very big in Warren, Michigan, and I just started throwing. I'd watch a game on TV, and then I'd throw. And I'd emulate all the Detroit Tigers growing up. Everything that they did, I did. And that's how I self-taught myself to play baseball. You know, they still encouraged me to play a musical instrument. I played the drums for a while, but ultimately they knew my passion was in baseball. And they taught me a character and a moral fiber that I've never forgotten. I was basically the nerd growing up. I mean, I was a geek. I didn't do anything stray from being bad. I just focused on everything there was in baseball. Sports helped me from probably getting beat up in high school because it isn't the pressures that you deal with today. But I was one of those active kids that always pushed people. I loved football. I loved basketball. Basketball is my passion. Basketball is what I wanted to be. Baseball was a smarter choice. But throwing a football, I could throw a football 80 yards without a blink in the eye, but I couldn't take a hit. So my dad prevented me from playing in high school, and I'm glad he did, but I was begged every day. I love sports. I love getting outside, shoveling the basketball court, playing with the chain nets. It was my passion. It was my desire. I stayed out of trouble. I never even thought about wanting to get in trouble because sports was that important to me. One thing you need to know about me, I do like to have fun, tell a corny joke, which you already saw. My good friend Jeff Foxworthy hates this when I tell him. The people that basically I write jokes for him, but that's okay. But one of the things that I love about sports is the experiences that you have and the people you get to meet and the things that you'll cherish for a long time. I still play today. I'm playing in rec basketball league. I want to do it until I can't do it anymore. I never thought that I would do some of the things in life that I've done. I never thought that a 4-year-old to 7-year-old accordion player would have dinner with the president twice, play golf with Tiger Woods, meet all the people that he's met, and do the things that I've done. I owe a lot of that to my family and the support they gave me. My parents didn't know much, as I said, about sports, but they gave us the support we needed to attain any dream that we wanted. And this certainly seemed unrealistic and far-fetched at best. The family was not real happy around them for letting me make this decision, but I think things worked out okay after that. One thing that makes me who I am is my parents taught me never forget where you came from. We didn't have a lot of money growing up. My dad worked 3 jobs. I already told you he played in a band at night. He owned a Sony dictating machine, retail shop, so we had the latest, greatest Walkmans that first came out, but the 8-tracks, you know, always took precedence. My dad taught me not to be afraid of who you are and make fun of yourself. That was evidenced by the fact that he was a salesman by nature, but he drove in a red Maverick, if you can imagine this, and this is how he promoted his product. He had an adding machine painted on a red Maverick. So the top of the car had the huge paper coil coming out, and the hood, the front hood, had all the numbers and adding machine that you would dig. So it was enough to have that car. Imagine getting driven to school in that car. I told my dad, I said, Dad, you know, I'm in between sports. Since I don't play football, the coach wanted me to stay in shape. If you'll let me out about a mile from school, I'll take it from here. It didn't matter. He wasn't afraid of who he was or what he represented, so that was a very important trait. And they also told me don't forget where you came from. A lot of things in sports can get played out in a way that is not favorable, and that's a shame because that takes the headlines. Sports in general and athletes have done a lot of great things for life, but we always focus on the negative. One of the things I've been able to do with the platform that was given to me is make a difference. And everywhere that I've gone, my family used to say, you know, make wherever you're at better by the efforts that you can bring about the light of an organization, a charity that wouldn't have it. That's been my desire. It's been my motive. I told a friend, my best friend growing up, if I've ever changed, as soon as I come home, slap me in the face, because I never wanted to be one of those guys. So I don't know technically what makes a good guy, but I can tell you that I thank the accordion because I haven't met too many not so good guys that have played the accordion. But my parents are to thank because of the efforts that they instilled. My mom stayed home. She was fortunate to raise us, which was an important trait that doesn't always exist today. And I think the one thing that being with the Atlanta Braves for 20-plus years in the community there, I've kind of settled in with my wife, Catherine, and 6 kids that we have back there. I told people yesterday that I have a bucket list, but it's not the bucket list you would think about. It's the bucket list of things I said I would never do, and I'm doing them. And the good Lord is the only reason why I'm doing them, because I never thought I'd start a Christian school back in 2000. We have. It's 12 years running. That's a journey that if I knew the rules, I never would have got in. But it's a great journey. I never thought that I would be a broadcaster. Really didn't. That transition has been one where I wouldn't say it's smooth, but it's been fun. And I never thought I'd write a book. And I just finished a book. I never wanted to be one of those guys that wrote a book that had an autobiography on just saying, look at what he did. The reason I ended up doing a book, and hopefully it'll come out in Father's Day, is I think there's a lesson and a story that I have applies to a lot of young children and adults who are struggling with certain things in their lives. And I've been one that's had to overcome a lot that you wouldn't know, and that's pretty much the snippet of the book. One of the things that I'll share, and I have shared in the book, and if it's the only thing you remember from my speech, great, but I like acronyms. Acronyms to the point where I like saying it, the word acronym, because it makes me sound smart. And I think I know the meaning of the word acronym. But the acronym for me, if you know John Smoltz, you know failure has been a big part of his career, but it's been the motivator and the reason that I've had success. Because I believe a lot of kids and a lot of adults are choked off their dreams because they don't understand what failure really is. It should be a platform to be better. And failure for me, and the acronym of failure, goes like this. Fear and insecurity leave unrealistic expectations. Fear and insecurity leave unrealistic expectations. In the athletic sports world, there's a lot of insecure athletes. We're supposed to be tough, we're supposed to be better than the next, but the fact is the ones that are great and truly meet the championship type platform are the ones that have learned perseverance and failure. And so that's a big part of my story. And through the school and through all the different endeavors in charity, failure does come in the midst of all of it, and you learn some great things. Vince mentioned golf. It's a passion of mine. My next goal in life is to play on the senior tour. I've got 6 years to either ruin that or choose that will be the dream. I don't think it's any different than the 7-year-old dream I had when I was sitting there in a. By the way, we owned a Pacer. I was sitting in a Pacer when I told my mom that. So you can see they weren't ashamed at all of what they were, what they played or what they drove. But but I truly still dream about things. You have to adjust. We're all facing tough times today. It's all relevant. We all deal with it. And I think the part of my story that I hope plays out is that kids don't realize that it's just about talent, that it's just about fate, or it's just about being at the right place at the right time. There's a lot of things that you can determine. I'm honored to be with some of these great high school kids who have already achieved far greater things than I ever achieved, but I think the future is bright. I'm going to share one quick funny story with you because it's not who I am, but it's what I became in the sports world. In the sports world, especially baseball, I wasn't afraid. Like Amon said, I wanted to do whatever it took to win. I've engaged in some of the greatest challenges, the no-win approaches in my life, meaning I took on challenges that probably most people wouldn't have. And one of the ones that I took on was when I went from starter to closer. And I know it's just pitching. And by the way, having a pitching coach by the name of Chris Hook would probably scare the heck out of me. I could just see, go give him the hook. You know, I mean, that would be tough, but I'm sure he's good. I'm sure he's good. But I went from starting to closing, and that was a big challenge. I know it's just pitching, but it's a whole new job, really, and I had to learn on the task. But one of the things that comes along with it in this new age sports is you got to have a song. And the PR department came over to me and they said, all right, what's your song? And I said, what do you mean, what's my song? Everyone's got to have one. You know, when you come out to the mound or come up to the plate, you got to have a song. We're going to play it. I said, I played the accordion when I was 4. I mean, I don't even know the words to one song. I don't care. Make it natural. It ain't my gig. So for the first 15 or so outings, I didn't even care and know what they were playing. When I came through that door, that was a rush of adrenaline that you cannot get as a starting pitcher. I always tell people, as a starter, it's like driving your car, starting it here in Wisconsin, letting it warm up for 10 minutes, you know, get the ice off and then take your time to work. Well, as a closer, it was like start it, rev it up to 100, and go as fast as you can, hope you don't hit nobody. That's the difference in adrenaline between the two. So I'd hit that door, and my first thought, believe it or not, was, John, you got a good chance of giving it up today. Get locked in. And that was my whole focus. So this one day, I'm just as determined as ever. I'm coming through the door, and unbeknownst to me, Dancing Queen is playing over the stadium. I promise you, I got the CD. It's not that I'm against ABBA or anything like that, but it threw me for such a loop that I got to the mound, and I'm like having to refocus, like, how could they be playing Dancing Queen? I luckily get through the game. We win the game. You know, I got the save, and the PR department comes down. They're frantically nervous. They're like, oh, my gosh, John, we are so sorry. We didn't know you were coming in the game. It won't happen again. I said, don't worry. I'm taking charge. I went to my bullpen guys, and I said, guys, I can't have this mistake again. You please put something together. Just don't embarrass me. Come up with a song. So they did. They said, you are not going to believe when you come out these doors what they're going to be playing. So I get ready, and again, that's not what I want to be thinking when I open the door. I get ready, and the place goes nuts. The scoreboard's got lightning and thunder on it, and AC/DC's playing Thunderstruck. And I'm telling you, that's not me. I had to put my glove over my mouth as I ran to the mound. I not only got so hooked on it, that I decided to play a little DJ, and I mixed in Star Wars theme song as I came out of the bullpen, AC/DC Thunderstruck when I hit the infield, and my life as a closer started and began right there. But for me, I love life. I love to the fullest, trying to make it a better day, trying to make somebody's opportunity even special by going to a hospital or seeing a young child. And it was all formed, I believe, as a youngster with a great home in a Midwest atmosphere. I know why I loved coming to Milwaukee so much, besides the great hidden golf courses that were here, because I'm one of the few people who understood roll out the barrel as they were playing at the stadium. With that, I hope that I do the award justice. Nobody's perfect. We all can fail, but the good Lord has given me an incredible protection and incredible vision. And I thank you all for the time that you have spent here listening to us. And I'm really honored, and I will never forget this night. Thank you very much.
please subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell so you'll get notified when we post another great episode or interview. Download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for your support.